Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Bullony Basketball. Here with a very special guest today, the one and only Coach Evan of the He's on Fire podcast. How's it going, my man?
And it's going good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
Of course. And obviously, we're going to be talking a little bit about your team as we go on here, but I think we're going to start with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And they haven't been looking too hot lately. Of course, Jared Allen got injured, and Karis LeVert's missed some games here and there. But I guess I'll just ask you to start off. What are your thoughts on the Cavs' recent struggles lately? They just lost tonight too to Toronto. So, what do you think?
I kind of expected this down the stretch. I honestly picked them to finish like 13th or 14th in the conference. So the fact that they were like 2 or 3 for a while, and then injuries started piling up, starting with Ricky Rubio. Like once he got hurt, it almost opened the door for Darius Garland to have his all-star, kind of first half. But it also clamped them down because they're not a one-trick pony per se, right? I mean, they have a lot of guys that can hurt you. But now guys get more film on Darius Garland. You can game plan for him a little bit more. It's another ball handler. That's off the board for them. And then they traded for Rajon Rondo, who's made an impact, but probably not the impact a lot of people thought he would have been, a la the 2020-21 bubble, when Rajon Rondo was playing Rondo basketball, right? So then Karis LeVert trade happens and Jared Allen stuff happens, figuring out new pieces while still being a young team, right? And then you get injuries. Injuries always rock everything. They always rock the landscape of your
Facts.
entire team. So there's nothing you can do about the injuries, but it is a bummer to see Karis LeVert continuously getting hurt. Like what was it, 2 or 3 years ago? We were talking about him being a budding star, and then he's just
Right.
continuously getting hurt now, and that's a bummer. So hopefully next year he'll be good. Jared Allen, he had an all-star first half, and now he's going out. But they still got Evan Mobley. They still got Garland, and I love Garland. I think he's going to be a MVP caliber type of player coming up. But they're just a young team that hasn't been here before, outside of Rondo, outside of Kevin Love, and let's be honest, those aren't the main trigger guys for them. So they're just young. They're going through growing pains. They're going through a lot of up and coming Eastern Conference teams right now that are really making a push, and they got injuries. So props to them for what they've done so far. That's not to say like it's a bad season for them. They're just working their way through it. But I honestly, I kind of expect a different Cavaliers team the last 5 to 8 games here. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, you basically touched on a lot of it. I think especially too, like when Ricky Rubio went down, because Ricky Rubio was going off like early in the
He
year.
really was.
And I think everyone thought like this might be his career season, like potentially, which is crazy because it was like what year? It's year like 10 or 11 for him, I think. 'Cause he was drafted in
Hmm.
'09. I think he came over a few years after. But yeah, so like, and then people thought they were gonna eventually slide down. They kind of did this last year where they started off really good and then they slid down in the standings. And like you said, you've had them like what, like 13th or something in the standings. I think I had them there
Hmm.
too, like before the season. Like nobody expected them to be here. Then sure enough, they're like around the 2, 3, 4 seed, and obviously now they're hitting a tough stretch. I mean, the same thing's happening with my Bulls as well, and I think it's part of that. It's just like they haven't been here, done that, as long as teams like Philly or Milwaukee or um,
Miami, yeah.
Miami, Boston as well. But yeah, like I think they're like 6-11 now in their last 17 games, which is pretty tough. And yeah, like you said too, with Karis LeVert, like hopefully, I think he will next year definitely have a more important role like with this team too. Of course, we're gonna see what happens with Colin Sexton, so because he should be back too next year. I don't know if they might trade him or like maybe they'll try and work him
He's
out.
got to be trade bait at this point, right? They've
Yeah,
done so well without him. Let's see what else you can bring in for him. I mean, would imagine, but who
that,
knows?
that's what it seems like at this point. But yeah,
Mhm.
I mean Levert a few years ago, I think like the year D'Lo was an All Star. I think a lot of people thought like Levert was going to be an All Star that year, and then he had the injury, didn't come back till like the end of the year. Um, but yeah, I
The
think
heart problem too.
yeah, exactly, and that could have jeopardized like his whole career really. Uh,
Yep.
but yeah, I think. I mean, looking at, they're really competing with the Bulls and the Raptors to try and stay above the play-in. And they have a tougher schedule remaining. I saw that in Toronto. They have an easier schedule than the Bulls. Of course, the Bulls, they were, I think, the toughest schedule, and they dropped down to like eighth. So it's getting a little easier for them. Of course, they just lost to New Orleans, so it doesn't seem to matter that much. But I don't know. I think it's definitely hitting a tough stretch of the season, and these other teams, like the teams we mentioned in the top four, they're not gonna start messing around. Like they're gonna start like flipping a switch.
Yeah, it's playoff time. It's time to get going. I mean, look, Larry Markkinen has also missed time. I mean, we already talked about Jared Allen. Garland has missed a little bit of time here or there. You go up and down the list. Isaac Okoro has missed a little bit of time. Rajon Rondo's only played in 17 games, and he was supposed to pick up where Ricky Rubio left off, who only played 34 games. So they've been hit with the injury bug left and right. They have one of the largest rosters in the NBA too, due to so many guys going out with COVID, bringing up 10-day guys. Taco Fall was in there for some time. Ed Davis, 26 games. So they've just had a roster that's going in and out, in and out. So it's really hard to judge them, but you love what you're seeing from Evan Mobley and Darius Garland. You love your competitiveness every single night. So let's see what they do going forward.
We will see. That is crazy too that Rubio has played more than Rondo for the Cavs, because it seems like it's been so long since you've seen Rubio again this season.
Right.
But yeah, if you want, we can progress here. We could talk about a little bit more news on the Western Conference side of things. The Portland Trail Blazers, their top player, Damian Lillard, officially ruled out the rest of the season. I think a lot of people saw this coming, but now it's, I guess, official. So I guess, what would you say necessarily about this decision, that Dame is not going to be back this season, and does it really affect anything?
I mean, yeah, at this point, no, you're playing for draft picks. You're not going to, even if you happen to squeak into the play-in game, just, on the last day of the season or something, you're not really playing for anything. It's not a legitimate season for them at this point. So shut it down, reload for next year. But I'll tell you what, man, next year, if they are a competitive team and make the playoffs, and I'm talking a 5-6 seed, right? If they were healthy all year and they were ready to rock and roll, and Robert Covington had it going early, and then Simons picked it up like he is now, and Dame was still healthy with McCollum, they should easily have been a 5 seed this year. I mean, look at Denver with all their troubles and injuries. You should have been able to hop them, and then maybe beat out Dallas or Utah for that 5 seed, somewhere around there. So next year, if they're not in that conversation for at least a top 6 seed and looking competitive, Dame, bro, I know you love Portland. I know. Be yourself just a little bit and go play for a team that wants to win, because I'm not saying Portland doesn't want to win. He's getting up there in age. And I love Damian Lillard. I actually do like the Blazers a lot. Damian Lillard sponsored one of the teams that I coach for shoes for everybody and gear.
Oh, wow.
So that was awesome. So shout out Dame. Have nothing against him. I do want to see what it would be like if he was on a legitimate winning team year in and year out. I really would. He's had to carry the load in Portland for years, and as well as I do, when you do that in the league for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, you're gonna wear down. So I hope this isn't the start of that, and I hope that they're competitive. But if this is another year where they're not competitive and they're a lower seed, arguably in the play-in tournament, at what point do you start considering and questioning where you're at? Or if you're gonna be a lifer, and you know what, man, more power to you. Go through that struggle and maybe never win a championship, but people will love you for that, and there is something to be said for that. So there's no wrong way, but I just want to see what he would be like on a competitive team. That's all.
Yeah, I kind of don't. I don't like the way people try and portray that idea. I know if he stays, it seems like he's almost. It would take almost a miracle, it seems like, at this point, for him to win a ring in Portland, with the direction they're going. I mean, guys like Josh Hart and Anthony Simons, I mean, they're both young and they both have looked good. But does it really fit the timeline of Dame? Like, are they going to peak when Dame is still Dame? You know what I mean? And if not, which it's hard to predict because Dame's like what 32 right now, so who knows like if he's still going to be this good at age 35, 36. He's undergoing like surgery, so who knows? A lot of those players like you never know like how they're going to come back from that. But
It's hard to ask a 35-year-old to carry a team to the depth that he's been doing too.
exactly.
He's 31. He'll turn 32 July 15th. So going in the next year, he'll be 32. So there you go.
Yeah, and that's like, I mean, it doesn't really seem like that because I will say for Dame, like, it seems like his game will probably age well in the same way. So he's probably more likely at age 35 or 36 to still be playing at a high level. But like after surgery like this, he's been there for so long. I think he's just going to be a little mentally drained as well. Like I think you even said that. Um, but yeah, like the direction of the team is so confusing. Maybe they'll trade Nurkic. We don't know. I mean, they already got rid of like Covington and Powell and McCollum and basically everyone else.
And Larry Nance Jr.
Larry Nance Jr. as well. And I've seen reports that like maybe they'll try and get Jeremy Grant, and I don't know if that's really the answer. I mean, he would make them better, but I don't think he moves the needle that much. You know what I mean?
Does it put them over the hump? No.
Yeah.
Does it make them? I would say like a ceiling height for them would be if we have All-Star Dame coming back, this roster plus a Jeremy Grant, I would put them as a 4 seed. I could easily put them as a 4 seed. Does it put them over the hump to the Western Conference championship? I don't think so. I could be wrong, and the crazier things have happened. I just don't think so at this point.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. And I mean, I do think people, if Dame does come back 100%, same Dame as usual, then I think people are definitely going to have to put more respect on his name for the time that he's been out.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, like people forget, like he led them to a 3 seed back to back years, and that was around the time where the Kevin Durant Warriors existed. You know what I mean? That was like when the West was insane. Now we're talking about, the East might have more contenders, is like what some people have been saying, but, you know, he was doing that when the West was seen as like more contenders for a lot of years. And I think right now it's probably like balanced per se, but I don't know. That's just how I view it, I guess. But yeah, I guess moving on here, we could talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves, who they've been playing pretty good since All-Star break. I know they're on a 2-game slide right now, but I guess I'll ask you, do you think there's only about like 10 or so games left in the year, but do you think it's possible that they could overtake at least the 6th seed? I think the 5th seed's in range, but at least avoid the play-in. Do you think that is possible?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, I was trying to look up one of their schedules to see if they play the Nuggets coming up, but the Suns are playing the Nuggets right now as we talk, and Devin Booker going up for a free throw. It is 95-90. Denver is up. Denver and Minnesota do play one time, so if it's all going to hinge on that game, which will be next Friday. If they win that game, the Denver Nuggets, that is, then we can talk about that. But that's going to be a huge game. But yeah, they can win. They got Cat who can do a bunch of things. They got Anthony Edwards, who I had a feeling was going to have not necessarily a breakout year, but definitely a better year than last year. D'Lo has been honestly regressed a lot this year, so I was really expecting him to really go off playing with his boy Karl Anthony Towns. That hasn't happened. Then they picked up Bev. Jalen Noel's doing his thing. Watching the Suns and the Minnesota game last night, man, that was chippy, which I don't mind chippy basketball. I really don't. But you can't be talking trash at the end of the second quarter, only up 11 or 12. And then what Karl Anthony Towns was doing this, like we're in their head or something like that. And then he gets 3 points the rest of the game. Like, I really feel like Patrick Beverley instilled his mindset on the whole team, which is a loser's mentality. He's on you the whole game. But then he can't make a play down the stretch to save his life. The whole team was like that. So they're still young. They've got a lot of things that they need to change if they want to be that team someday. And in a 1-game series in the play-in, I would fully expect them to come out with the 7th seed. If they beat Denver next Friday, all bets are off. Who knows at this point what's going to happen?
Yeah, and I think even like with your point to the Timberwolves Suns game, I mean that sometimes does work in the Timberwolves' favor, but I think a team like the Suns, like some of these top tier teams, like you're not going to get away with that just because simply
No.
they are going to take it more personally. If they did that against the Lakers too, and what happened? They still blew them out. Like, you know what I mean? Uh, so I don't know. I think the Timberwolves, I think they do have a legitimate chance. I think they have a really deep team as well, which is a little bit underrated. Like Vanderbilt, like Patrick
Yep.
Beverly
Yep.
as well, McDaniels, Jalen Noel. He might be one of the most underrated players in the league too. I
I
think
agree.
too, like a wild card for them in the playoffs could be Malik Beasley because if he's hitting his
Yes.
shots, like I don't know, it'll be hard to compete with them. Malik Beasley's giving you like last year he gave you almost like 20 a game. If he's going off in a series and he gives you like 20, and then you got Ant to worry about, and then you got Cat down low. D'Lo. I know you said like he's regressed a little bit this year. I would agree on offense. I think defensively, he's playing a little bit better. It was like weird. It was like last year, early in the year. I don't know if you remember like the defensive player of the year ladder, and they had like Jamal Murray on it, and everyone was like, "What? Like Jamal Murray, like top five?" But I think it's kind of like that. Like no one really thinks of D'Lo as a top defender, and he probably won't make all defensive, but I think he's definitely improved on that end. So, and they got to.
I would definitely agree. And also don't forget about Torian Prince as well too, the $13 million man over there. Ugh.
Exactly, Dorian Prince. And then also like I think their head coach is underrated too, Chris Finch. He gets
Mhm.
talked about not at all, and like I've seen people talk about coach of the year. I don't think anyone's really given him even credit for that nod. I don't know if I pick him as my winner, but I think he should be up there as like one of the top candidates, which is kind of surprising. Like no one's really talking about him.
It depends. Everybody's criteria is kind of different. Are you going to give it to the number one seed or are you going to give it to the most improved team, right? I mean, you got to look at teams like Chicago, Memphis, Cleveland, then you got Minnesota. But are you really going to pass up Monty Williams again with the Phoenix Suns for Coach of the Year? That's who the Coach of the real year really is. So I don't know if it matters, but what he's done needs to be recognized. 100%. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I think Monty would probably be the front runner for Coach of the Year, just like everything he's done with the Suns. But speaking of the Suns, your Suns, we could transition
Hey.
here to Chris Paul, who's back. He's making his return as we're speaking. It's not the fourth quarter yet, so I think we can expect him to even go off in the last quarter. But you know, I guess just from a general standpoint, like teams, the team played well in his absence. I think they started off a few games slow, and then they started playing really well after that. But how important is it that he's back now as opposed to maybe right as the playoffs or the play-in started and maybe not get those reps together like again with the team and get the rhythm back.
Sure, sure. So championship caliber, championship level teams use the end of the season to prep for the playoffs. This is the time to do it. I did not want to have him come in with like 2 or 3 games left, right? I don't want anybody playing the last game of the year, first off. So nobody needs to be playing. We're one, our magic number is one. So either one win by us for the rest of the year or one loss by Memphis. We got that wrapped up. So don't play anybody the last game of the year. Let everybody rest that game. And then you're going to have a week off, right? You're going to have a full week off until we play again because the season ends on a Sunday. Have the play-in games, and then the first round will officially start the following Saturday or Sundays when you play. So you will have 6 or 7 days off before you play. So coming back with that much time off is good, Now you're not in game shape. Obviously, game shape is way different than just practicing running up and down or running 5-on-5. It's
Right.
game shape. It's different. The lights around, the people around. So it's important to get a handful of games in under your belt. And now they're having to change everything again. Now all of a sudden, Campaign, who's done really good as a starter, has to come off the bench. You need to find the repertoire with your bench guys. It's just different for everybody, right? So you just need to adjust. And it's a smart team. They'll adjust. He is on a minutes restriction, but he's got 11 points and 8 assists, and that's everything that you want. He's better than Alfred Payton, so that's for sure. So anything's better than having him out there. But we also had Aaron Holiday do a lot of good things as well too. So I mean, this team's just so deep. But Chris Paul coming back, it just not levels the playing field because it's almost unfair. You got the point guard, right? But it's a sense of security, sense of calmness when things get out of whack, when you're down 9, 10, 11, and the crowd's going crazy. He just brings that, walks it up, gets a pick, pops it off the elbow, goes in. All of a sudden you can get on your own run. So he's just so important for the Phoenix Suns, man. He is the point guard. He's the point guard for a reason. And we're missing a hell of a performance by Devin Booker right now. He just stole the rebound from somebody, went up, and he got hacked for an and one. And then he just pickpocketed Jokic and drove it all the way down for a slam dunk on the other end. Devin Booker is just on one right now. So shout out Book.
Well,
38 points. 2 minutes left in the third quarter.
Well, we know he loves this day because this is March 24th. This is the same day he got 70, right?
Facts. I thought that was yesterday, but you could be right. I've been off for the last couple of days. I thought yesterday was Friday for the longest time. So
I saw something about it today, but it might have been posted yesterday. Regardless, I think he kind of likes this time of year. But anyways, I think
gearing up for the playoffs, man. Gearing up for the playoffs.
Getting ready. But yeah, I agree with you that having like 2 to 3 weeks is definitely the way to go. The most optimal route. It's better than and this is why, like, I thought personally that maybe the Clippers would at least get like one of their guys back, like maybe like Paul George or something like that. But now it's gotten to a point where it's like, do you even want to bring them back? And for the Phoenix Suns, you got Chris Paul back, perfect timing. And also, like, it's even funny, like you mentioned Alfred Payton. I remember I was watching. I forget who they were playing, but it was like a week or so ago, and he started, and I said like he got a flush stat line, like he got like 0 and 1, 2, 3, and 4 in like different categories, and I was like, yeah, they like when Chris Paul comes back, like they're gonna be so much better, and they're already playing so well, like even with Alfred Payton and Landry Shamet, which I won't hate on too much today. Because he has been playing well the past few games, but
he's shooting 44% from 3 since the All-Star break.
Yeah, he
talk about peaking at the right time.
He's feeling it. But yeah, hopefully, like if he keeps this up, and then Chris Paul comes back. I mean, this guy was leading the NBA at age 36 in assists per game and steals per game before he went down, which I think is crazy. And I think I saw a stat today that even though he missed like 3 to 4 weeks,
15 games, yeah.
Like he's still leading the NBA in total assists, which that's crazy, like.
Then he tacks on 8 tonight, so you can almost guarantee that's in his bag.
Exactly. But yeah, I think the main
Devin Booker just got fouled for 3, so he's gonna at least make 2 of them. He's gonna have 40 points in 3 quarters.
Oh, he's going for 71. Man. Going for 71. But yeah, I think the main thing for Chris Paul is that, like, at this point in his career, he's definitely hungry for a championship. He got to the finals last year in his first year in Phoenix, and it was amazing. I think people were kind of crazy, though, saying, like, oh, it's over, the Suns will never get back. Like, everyone was kind of going crazy, like, oh, the fluke injuries are the reason why they got there. I'm sure you've heard all this, Like, I'm sure, like, you've heard if Jamal Murray was healthy, like over and over.
How many times do we got to hear if Anthony Davis was healthy the whole first round, the Lakers would have won? Yeah, well, if Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving were healthy in the bubble, the Nets would have beat the Lakers. So You know what? What Devin Booker says is if ifs were fifths, everybody would be drunk.
And I'd argue too that, like, honestly, playing without an injured guy or an injured guy sitting out is easier than an injured guy playing. Because Chris Paul was playing and his shoulder was messed up. I feel like that.
Couldn't even dribble, man.
Yeah, he couldn't even dribble. He couldn't even shoot. So I feel like that almost hurts more to their own team. Would people never factor that in? And now, like, you're gonna have Chris Paul at full strength, Devin Booker at full strength. Ayton, he went off the other night in the Timberwolves game. He had 35 or something like that.
35. And Cam Johnson's been out for 13 or I think 11 or 12 games at this, but this is his 12th game. Cam Johnson's going to come back, and he had the best three-point percentage in the NBA.
Exactly, and he was snubbed too from the three-point contest. He really should have been really.
That game winner against New York and hadn't played since.
Yeah, I was watching that game live too when it happened.
Wild.
But yeah, I just think the Suns at this point, like, they're the team to beat, and it's kind of theirs to lose. I think if there's a team that's going to knock the Suns off, like, everyone's going to be gearing their attention toward them as the new favorites in a way, because the Suns have just been like this good. Like, I think they're now 9 games ahead of Memphis for second in the West. So yeah, I just think they're looking good and they're getting healthy at the right time, which is perfect if they want to succeed in the playoffs.
Yeah. You know what? And obviously, I want a championship more than anything. 42 points for Devin Booker at the end of the third quarter here. Game is tied. And I honestly don't care about the Lakers stuff anymore. I don't care about, if Jamal was this or that. You know what? Everybody's got injuries in every sport every single year. What are we talking about here? Play better. Maybe don't count on these injury-prone dudes, right? Maybe don't count on Anthony's street clothes.
Right.
So, the thing that NBA needs to understand is that this whole team has a Mamba mentality. Do not piss this team off. Do not poke the bear. They take any little advantage that they can and they take it personal. They hold it against you and they want to take it out on you. Last night in Minnesota, Denver started talking when they were up 9, just about with 4 or 5 minutes left. Now they're only up 2 to end the quarter.
Right.
Devin Booker's going off of 42. Bones Highland just hit a jumper and started talking to Devin Booker. That ain't going to end well for you. Like, when are these teams going to realize this is a 4-quarter game? Right? And so that's what this team's doing. They're creating games within games to keep it competitive for themselves and to keep it going. And I think little things like that are really going to help in the playoffs. You're not just thinking about, you got to win 4 games in a series. No, you're thinking about the little matchups inside of it. And when you win those little matchups, those little possessions that tip out, those extra little things, that's when you have not only a successful basketball team, very basketball team. So don't talk until the 4th quarter.
Facts. I couldn't have put it better myself, and that's why I think they will be successful this year. I wish the Bulls would take some of that as well, like some of that personal stuff. But yeah, I think the Suns, they're heading on the right track, and should be fun to see how it all plays out in the playoffs.
See.
But yeah, if you want, we could move on to the next topic here.
Keep talking Suns. It's all good. We can keep going.
Yeah, we can go back. This will be a quick one, and then we'll get into the fun NBA trivia, which I know you're looking forward to.
Let's go.
So Isaiah Thomas, he signed for the rest of the season with Charlotte. Right now, Charlotte, they're currently in a play-in spot, so people were like, he's getting upgraded from 10-day to 10-game contracts, which is kind of harsh, but who knows? If they play well in the play-in and they get into the playoffs, he could definitely be an X factor for them in the playoffs with his experience. And they've played well with him so far. I think they're 6-1 in the games he's played. They've kind of saved themselves because they went on a 5-game losing streak. Then they just turned it around with a 5-game winning streak. No, I'm not sure when Gordon Hayward's going to come back or anything like that. I think he might be just done for the season. He hasn't played in a long time, but that just means more shot opportunities to go around, and he could be one of those guys that takes advantage of that. So I think it's definitely huge for them. But let me hear what do you think about Isaiah Thomas on the Hornets for the rest of the year?
First off, it's wild to me that a player that averaged 29 points a game would get blackballed in the NBA. It's just absolutely wild how that happened, and it's wild that it happened in Boston and how it happened. But with that being said, I was glad he didn't stay in the Lakers because then I would have to hate him. I was glad he didn't stay with Dallas, and so being with Charlotte, Charlotte's one of the teams that I definitely root for in the Eastern Conference. I'm a closet Orlando Magic fan. I love Penny and Shaq when I was growing up, so always kind of wondering what they're doing, right? And then Charlotte, I always liked their uniforms. I loved Muggsy because I was like, oh man, I'm taller than Muggsy. I can do that too. And then I kind of liked Charlotte. I liked their court back in the day, and I just, as a kid, I just started liking them too. So big Hornets fan. So I'm glad he caught on there. I do think he can still do some things. He is 33. He is limited as far as height is concerned. So you know what? That's gonna hurt him. But he's still dynamic.
Yeah.
In 13 minutes a game, he's getting 9.3 points. 42% from 3, 42.5 from the field. It's amazing how he got blackballed. I'll never ever understand it. So props to him doing it, and I'm looking forward to see if Charlotte can do something, anything, the playing game. Because I was really high on them. I thought they would finish with the 5th or 6th seed, but that's what I know.
Yeah, I think like for these type of players where like we've seen them like at their best, they're all NBA caliber player, multiple time All-Stars. I think I look less at the stats and just more so like, do they look like they're in good condition? And also,
Sure.
does it look like they're still, they still got that talent? Maybe they just need the opportunity. Sometimes that's the hardest part, like when you're getting back. I think we're seeing that now too with like DeMarcus Cousins, Victor Oladipo, who just came back. So I think he's kind of in that realm, but like he's had some pretty nice games. Even those, I think the first 2 games with the Lakers earlier this year, I think one of the games he was like the best player. I think it was his first game back, and he was like the best player in the game. They got blown out, but still. And then he had a few good games already with Charlotte. So, I mean, he's not going to be there long term because, like LaMelo Ball is the point guard there. But if this could be like maybe the turnaround for him that he needs, and maybe another team gives him a chance, he doesn't even have to be like a starting point guard. Like if he could come off the bench, give you like 10 to 12 a game, I think he'd be definitely happy with doing that. And I think he's more than capable of doing that as well. So I don't know. I think that it is kind of dumb how the whole situation happened with the Celtics. I know they were like trading him and like his injury and stuff like that, but just didn't seem right. And I'm sure, I think even Celtics fans, even though now like the last like 2 months they've been playing amazing, I think they still wish like they had him on the team, like to be here with this.
It was a fan favorite, bro.
Yeah. But yeah. If you want, we can move on to the trivia game.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So I'll read the rules so you're aware, and anyone that's watching for the first time is aware. So basically, there are 5 questions, and each question has 5 hints with it. Each question, you're allowed 3 guesses, if I can hold up 3 guesses, and 2 skips. The correct guess and less hints will get you more points. So say you only use 1 hint, you get it right, you get 5 points on that question. 2 hints, 4 points. Then it keeps going. So that's 25 possible points. And then at the very end, there's just 1 question about me in the NBA. That one has no hints, though, but that's also worth another 5 points. So if you get them all right, you get 30 points, which would be amazing. You'd be like a legend. But are you ready?
Let's go. I'm hyped.
Okay, so I'll start you off with, and this could be anything in the NBA, past, present, a basketball move. It could be a coach, an executive. So just to let you know. So the first question, the first hint, is this is a former NBA player who played professional basketball for 21 years.
21 years. I have a few guys in mind, but I'm going to have to ask for a hint.
Okay, so the second hint is this guy joins Michael Jordan, Wilt Chamberlain, and James Harden as the only players in NBA history to win 3 straight scoring crowns while averaging 30 points per game or more all 3 of those years?
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
It is not Kareem. So that's strike number 1, unfortunately.
Ooh.
You're still good. You still got 2 more guesses, and you got another skip. So the third hint is this guy won the 1975 NBA MVP.
I'm usually really good at this stuff. 21 years, 1975 MVP. 2 years he was a scoring title. It's not Kareem.
But you did play against Kareem. Uh,
You mentioned Wilt on something else, which means it wouldn't be Wilt. Dr. J.
it is not Dr. J.
Yeah.
So that's strike number 2. You still got one more guess, and you got one more skip available if you want to use it. So the 2-point hint is over this guy's career, he played with both of the New York and LA franchises at some point. So the Knicks, the Nets, the Lakers, the Clippers, he played for their franchise at some point. All of them.
New scoring champion?
3.
Let's see. I'm going to go. No, I can't go with him.
You do have a skip
Oh,
available if you don't know, but
no, it's on the tip of my tongue. I can't do it. I'm gonna go with Robert Parrish.
you going Robert Parrish here, final guess?
Robert Parrish, final guess.
Unfortunately, it is not Robert Parrish. The correct answer is actually Bob McAdoo.
Wow. Bravo. Yep. 100%.
Yeah,
I forgot he played for the Knicks.
yeah, that's a
I
tough
forgot
one.
all about that.
And he was on well, technically he was on the Braves, but that is the Clippers franchise.
Right.
And then he played on the Nets really quickly. Like he was barely on the Nets. But yeah. So that's only the first question though. So you got 4 more. And I think that might have been the hardest question too. So I think you'll be doing good here. So are you ready for question 2?
I don't know, but we're gonna see.
Okay. So second question, first hint is now this is a basketball move that is something done with possession of the ball.
I'm gonna need another hint.
Yeah, that might be hard. Okay, so the second hint is this dribble move can be performed in 7 different ways.
Crossover?
It is the crossover, yes. So that was a 4-pointer. That's pretty good. That one was probably, I would say, the easiest of the 5 I listed on here. But
Oh, good. I got the easy one at least.
well, you still got 4 points, which is not bad. I always tell my guests to aim for 10. So 4 points after 2 questions, you're on pace right now. So
Here we go.
doing pretty good. All right, so the third question, the first hint, is this NBA team is the only franchise to have a winner of all of the main 6 awards since 2005. So like MVP,
Ooh.
6th man of the year, coach of the year, defensive player, all the main 6.
Golden State Warriors.
It is not Golden State. So that's
Wow, I thought
strike
for
number
sure
1.
I had that.
So the second hint, chance of 4 points. They are the only current franchise to never change their logo.
I have a team in mind. I'm totally doubting myself. I'm gonna go with your Chicago Bulls.
Well, that's a pretty good guess because it is the Chicago Bulls. All right. So,
Who was their 6th man?
well, I'll run through them. So, like MVP was obviously Rose, Coach of the Year Thibodeau, Defensive Player Joakim Noah,
Okay.
Most Improved Jimmy Butler. You got Rookie of the Year was also Rose, and then Ben Gordon, 6th man of the year.
Of course. Those were the years that him and Leandro Barbosa of the Suns were battling back and forth to get that. Yeah. Oh, Ben Gordon.
And Barbosa won it. Didn't he win it? I think the year after
Year
him.
before or year after? Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, I know they were like, yeah, they were right next to each other. So, but yeah, so that's pretty good. So now you got 8 points. I think the last two they're gonna get a little bit tougher, but we'll see how you do. Are you ready for the fourth question?
Let's go.
All right. So the fourth question, the first hint is this current NBA player. Now we're talking current players. Won the Julius Erving Award in college.
Another hint.
Okay, so the second hint is he is one of 4 players to win multiple NCAA championships.
Another hint.
Okay, so the third hint is he has the longest active streak of consecutive games played in the entire
Mikal
NBA.
Bridges.
It is Mikal Bridges. I had to put a Phoenix Sun on here just because. But yeah, his last one. Did you know this? I didn't personally even know that his nickname is the Warden. I'm sure you have heard it, but yeah, I've never heard that. So, but yeah, so that's pretty good. So you got 3 on that. You're sitting at 11 right now. I think the most in show history right now is 13. So
let's go.
If you get 3 here, you pass that. And if you get at least 2, you tie. So are you ready for the fifth question? And then you still got the bonus after this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
good.
We'll see. So the fifth question now, the first hint is this current NBA player, another current player, grew up playing volleyball.
Hint?
Okay. The next hint is despite leading in points per game and rebounds per game among all rookies his rookie year, he did not win Rookie of the Year.
One more hint?
Okay, so the third hint is his mentor was Luc Mbah a Moute.
Kevin Love.
You guessed Kevin Love here? Chance to have the most? Unfortunately, it is not. Okay, so you're still doing fine. If you get this one here, you'll be tied at the top of the leaderboard, but we'll see. The fourth hint is he joins LeBron, Giannis, and James Harden as the only guys to be named to the last 5 NBA All-Star games. All 5 of them. He didn't have to play in all 5, but at least was named to all 5.
In Kevin Durant?
It is not Kevin Durant.
Bummer.
So that's
a good question.
So the last hint, and you will get it on this one because the 1-point hint usually are the easiest, but they call him the process.
Joel Embiid.
It is Joel Embiid.
I didn't realize he averaged the most points and rebounds for rookie and didn't get it that year. That's crazy.
Yeah, the main reason why they held it against him, because like he missed so many games. I think he played like 30 or something, and that was the year
right.
Like Brogdon won it. But yeah, and then so and you guessed Durant. Like the only reason Durant didn't qualify for the All Stars because remember he missed the whole 1 year with injury. So that's it's kind of surprising though. Embiid's made like the last 5. But yeah. All right.
So good.
So
good. Booker's got 47, by the way. 47 with 5 left. Looking for a 50 burger.
Oh, he's going to get 50. He might get, if it goes to OT, he'll get 60 for sure. But, all right. So we'll run through the bonus real quick so you can see the end of this game. All right. So basically, there's no hints. It's just a random guess out of nowhere. So here we go. The question is, the high school that I went to has won 1 basketball state championship, and it was in 2010. I wasn't on the high school team then, but my team won that year, and I actually did get to experience, the championship run, so it was kind of cool. But in the championship game, what NBA player did our team face to win it all?
In 2010?
2010. Could be anyone that's played in the NBA.
Could be anybody. I have no idea, my man. I can't even throw out a guess.
You don't even want to throw out a guess?
I can't even so high school in 2010. Aaron Gordon. Because he's on my TV right here.
It is not Aaron Gordon. The correct answer is actually, and it's a tough one, but it is Yogi Ferrell.
Could have guessed 300 times and I probably wouldn't have gotten to Yogs.
You probably could have had like a list of players, like, and you know, like whatever, and you probably wouldn't still get it because that's like the last person anyone would guess.
I'm kicking myself over the McAdoo one. That's the one I should have gotten.
Yeah,
Easy.
that one was tough. The Embiid one was tough for sure, and you definitely knew your Mikal Bridges. So, I mean, you did pretty good. I mean, you got like 12 points, which is pretty solid. You got the goal of 10, like I said, that most of my guests should try and aim for. But yeah, I think overall you did pretty good. Did you have fun with the trivia?
Absolutely. I'm gonna be thinking all night about Bob McAdoo now.
Gonna be doing that research on Bob McAdoo.
I'm gonna have to ask for another spot so I can redeem myself and get the high score.
Gonna purchase like an biography of him or something.
Exactly.
But yeah, well, I guess that's basically gonna do it for the show. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching. You got any final thoughts your way?
And everybody just watch and enjoy the playoffs this year. I think it's going to be one of the better playoffs that we've seen in a long time. And I mean from the play-in games all the way to the actual tournament or the playoff rounds itself.
Facts.
So enjoy it, watch it. And if anybody is coming out with this doesn't count because of injuries, then don't watch. Watch the game if that's going to be your excuse. That's all I got to say about that. Go Suns!
Yeah, everyone's just going to be calling it a Mickey Mouse ring already. But no, I think these playoffs should be exciting, definitely, for sure. And I'll also have your stuff down below. I'll have down there, I'll say, like, check description. So you guys will be sure to check him out. His channel's been booming lately. So definitely go sub to him and go tell him that Super Mario Hoops 24 is a casual, because I've been saying that the last few times, and it's just kind of funny. But yeah, that's going to do it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we're out. Peace.